Hello once again. This is Third Eye Africa TV. My name is Ben Adam Shama. Our program once again, do I call it the village square? Do I call it the meeting point? We want to talk politics in Nigeria, and therefore the program is Democracy in Action. 2023, like we keep saying, is just around the corner. Less than 2027 is just around the corner. And just like opening and closing your eyes, you just see that we are there. By this time, we would have been talking of winners and losers. Will they accept? Will they congratulate our winners? We want to see all of this as we are talking of alignments by politicians, alignments by political parties, and of course, as they intend to win. So, who becomes first the Nigerian president and many others who will be contesting? We'll look at many of the issues before those elections. And I have a guest, or we have a guest, that is not new to this studio, that is not new to viewers. And I want to welcome a lecturer from University of Abuja, formerly and now rather called Gowon University, Yakubu Gowon University. Is always in his immaculate white, a mark of his own, creating a niche for himself. And I want to welcome, therefore, Dr. Peter Daniel Ede. Thank you for coming to Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you, Ben, and good evening, viewers. It's my pleasure being here.
Now, let us look at first the roadmap to 2027, the elections in Nigeria, the politicking. We're talking of the conventions that have taken place, congresses that have taken place in Nigeria as a prelude, a precondition to elections. By way of summary, let's see how far the journey has been.
Yeah, thank you very much. It has been a turbulent one. One with a lot of intrigues and political brouhahas. Intrigues in the sense that political parties at one level or the other have their skirmishes, and those who are charged with the responsibility of managing them have been playing their games at different levels, and that is why we have been seeing different issues that have been on the burner from one political party to another. The ruling party is not left out. As a matter of fact, the ruling party is a generator of all the problems. And that is why other political parties are out to see what they can do to also salvage the problems of Nigeria.
Yeah. Now, when you say yes, they are out to tackle the issues, you're also alluding to the fact that, or your own opinion, that the ruling party is also part of the issues on ground. But first of all, let's look at ADC, talking of African Democratic Congress, David Mark and co. I mean, they've held their own national convention here and affirmed and suspended some people like Nasiru Balabiu and all that stuff. Do you feel that ADC has come out of the woods? The issues are all settled, or there are still issues on ground?
As far as I'm concerned, when you look at what has played out critically. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, has no issue. And all the cases are actually a no-case situation. I had thought that you would have started with the ruling party and then we'll now see what is actually bringing, the party like the African Democratic Congress, ADC.
Well, I was also thinking that we should start from there and before reaching, because we are treating them on equal footings. So we can start from
No, they cannot be on equal footings in the sense that the ruling party enjoys every benefit from the government and has all at its beck and call. But other political parties are struggling from the sweat of well-meaning Nigerians who want to genuinely contribute their quota to salvage the problems and perceived problems and the looming doom that might befall Nigerians that they are seeing, and they're trying to say no to it. Now, you know that the African Democratic Congress has come a very long way trying to, get into governance. It has been the most credible alternative that has over the years been very persistent in pursuing the right trajectory towards having effective democracy in Nigeria. Of course, she's not been funded by government, but if there were a free, level playing ground to fund the political parties and you see them perform, then you would have known what it, if take down history way back. All the political parties in the past were funded. It is the responsibility of the government to fund them and make sure that you get out credible people.
But at that point, when government was funding political parties, there was the allegation that some people, a man, woman, a family, just go form an association, a pressure group, you register it, just collect government money, go change your wardrobe and disappear to another election.
It is left also for government to put sanctions, to put, you sanction such persons who have taken government money and deal with them decisively.
And that's why they were not registered.
You see, you deregister them. So why would you register political parties and leave them? When NP and MPP were on board, were they doing such things? When IBB came and narrowed and streamlined it to two political parties, SDP and NRC, they funded them. And you saw the output.
But they were just two.
They were just two.
But we're talking of a situation where you
saw the output.
Political parties.
It was not, even our voting system then was not geared towards any Muslim ticket or Christian whatsoever. The kind of thing that we are playing now. So you saw it. It went through.
Yeah, but we had Abiola and Kingibe who were Muslim, and Nigerians
never bothered.
So what went wrong?
It was not seen. I said it was not seen from that point.
So what went wrong today?
You understand?
Yes.
What went wrong today is what the African Democratic Congress is possibly trying to correct. And you can see that in their manifesto, what they have put together to bring back Nigeria to the right trajectory. We have derailed. This is a country that is blessed with rich natural mineral resources, human resources. We have the intellectuals. We have the military. The manpower is there to do whatsoever. But the political will is being distracted by the international communities.
But I mean, you're talking
we
about,
are
yes,
taken
APC.
away from following the trajectory to build a nation. I mean, coming into politics, we should think about building the nation. It shouldn't be admiring America or UK or any country. This is our country.
So we should do
We
our
should
own
build
way.
it in our own way.
But we're talking about lack of internal democracies. You can also see that, like I said, Nafiu Balabiu Gombe is rather singing a different tune. He's saying this party is his. And Rav Okemwosutu, who used to be the chairman, you see the sing-song thing we are seeing there. I mean,
Now,
so why is ADC still in this kind of
okay, you see, ADC is still in that kind of conflict because those who are afraid, who are in the national, who are in the Asurok, who are afraid of the alternative force that is coming, don't want to see ADC scale through. For heaven's sake, there is just one right way of doing things and getting them right. And when you have an institution like the Independent National Electoral Commission, having that to play, what does that suggest to you? Why will INEC entertain such fallacies? INEC has been part of the coalition process. As a matter of fact, I can say INEC had it part and parcel of the coalition process. Witnessed everything, monitored, and were present and guided ADC to do the needful. I can remember when it got to the time where certain things have to be put in place in order to attract the coalition to accept ADC. Of course, there were multiple political parties that the coalition would have adopted, but none was on the right track like ADC. And that is why I talk about building the nation. Because ADC has been going through building a political party that has a trajectory towards nation building.
No, so what do you say
Now,
of the criticism?
I want to answer. I'm coming to answer you. Who was Nafiu Bala when all that was going on? Who was Nafiu Bala? Remember the question. Who was Nafiu Bala while the coalition was going on? Where was Nafiu Bala while the coalition and the process of negotiating with ADC was going on? Now, Nafiu Bala, I can remember very vividly, contested as a placeholder in 2019 election. And
Placeholder for who?
for Gombe State.
Okay.
And of course, he was there. And rather than throwing away structures that we have used, he was puzzled to flow with the party, not to throw him away. And that was how he assumed the position of
Deputy.
a national figure at all. Because where was he elected? As a
Well,
deputy.
you always say that he came on board just like any other person
Just
in
like-
that party.
just like any
before
other
David
person.
Mark
How?
and Rav
just like anybody. How? So I'm giving you the background. He contested election. And after that election, what we did was to bring all those who contested election and make them relevant, not to leave the party, and give them positions so that the structure, you move with it. Now, he played a role of being there negotiating, going to INEC, negotiating to see that the party was adopted by the coalition. Where he had issues was how the sharing formula that was given, the shared positions to the north central, to all the zones. And of course, he is supposed to go to his zone and get whatever position he can get from his zone. I am from the north central. I was the national vice chairman, north central. And the positions shared, the national chairman was zoned to north central. I was given to David Mark. You expect me to go and fight David Mark to say I will not accept? Even when the vice chairman, my own position, was taken and given to the General Senator from Kogi. I wasn't consulted. I never fought for it. I never fought. Not because I cannot fight, but because I saw the process and that the party was gaining more national acceptance. And here are stronger, capable hands looking at the leadership of Senator David Mark. Why should I challenge it? Of course, so many people had cast aspersions on me that I must have sold out. Why didn't I put a little fight?
Chickened
You
out.
understand?
Should have
And that
thrown it the way
some
over
felt
Ebola.
I was settled and all that. I said no,
So were you settled?
nothing, not a penny. No, I said 1 naira.
Did you make demands?
I never made any.
Were you offered anything?
I was not offered anything.
You are contented.
I am contented because I see the party growing. Because I have been a brain behind this party, working to see that it gets to the next level. So I was naturally happy to see that the party was growing. When it came to the point that from my state, we needed to, inaugurate the party there again. Of course, I went there. And with the leadership of Gabriel Suswan, who galvanized all the coalition partners, I was there. I handed over the party to them. I said, I know, because we're not having this kind of population. We're not having this kind of acceptance. But that does not mean that we were not having structures. We had structures.
Okay. Now, the convention has come and gone. And I could see that President Tinubu came harsh on some of your party leaders. And the point, he said the people also bought a political party. I mean, what's your reaction?
I didn't get that.
That, he was trying to I can't respond to Atiku. That's Tinubu,
Yes.
President Tinubu.
Yes.
At the point he said, in terms of privatization, Atiku was given that mandate. He privatized many companies, including Ajaokuta Steel Complex, and nothing is working. Then he moved to grab a certain political party to privatize it, and the bubble bursts. How do you?
It's quite interesting. Quite interesting to see that shenanigate of an analogy you're trying to navigate and hit on Atiku.
Well, no, he did. The president did.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Not me.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm simply paraphrasing what he said.
I understand. And for me, it's a shenanigate way of hitting at your opponent in order to bring him out for one thing or the other. ADC was not bought, to the best of my knowledge. Because if ADC was bought, I should have my share. I should have my share because I'm a major stakeholder. I remain a NEC member as far as the party is concerned. As a former national working committee member, I remain a NEC member of the party.
So how have you positioned or repositioned this party to ensure that, look, come 2027, I can see Dino Malai saying that if given the opportunity, vote now, Dino says he will defeat Tinubu. So how have you positioned this party?
That's a statement of facts. If all things being equal, left, there is no point the president getting agitated. Why not allow everybody on a level playing ground? I mean, he has the knife, he has the yam where to cut it. But why beginning to chop it off when it is not yet time to do so? You allow, in any competitive environment, the best thing is to allow everyone to compete favorably. It's not a way of trying to stop some persons using all means. And that is why it's a shame on INEC, a very big shame on the professor who called himself the chairman of INEC, because he has succeeded.
Let's do something, because there is a broadcasting code in terms of
I have not said anything wrong.
Well,
he's a professor, he's an academic like me.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And if as an academic I say something that is not proper and you say it's shame on me, I mean, it's as a matter of fact, it's a mild word.
Well,
to
at
say,
least the prof is not here to respond to you.
As a lawyer,
you are alone.
As a lawyer, he can listen to me and pick that word if he has done anything. He acted ab ignoratio,
meaning
out of ignorance. He knows nothing about what he has done. Now, INEC has in her regulations what is called the ADR. And the ADR section of INEC is meant to manage crisis in all political parties.
That's alternative dispute resolution.
That is what that is meant for. Tell me, the people who are in INEC, who are working in that directorate, what are they doing? Sleeping. Rather than going into any political party and solve their problem. It is their duty.
But
Now, I take you through the historical lane, how ADC was adopted before the coalition came on board. Of course, we had some members of the party that were, so to say, expelled. One, Dumebi Kachukwu for one, was expelled immediately after 2023 election, where he failed to carry out his presidential campaign and went after the party and was calling himself a leader and was going on broadcast and all that. So it went against the party's constitution and he was expelled. Now, there were other state chairmen who formed alliance with him and all that. Those ones were suspended.
but
They were suspended.
Yes,
I am coming.
Dr. Ede.
And
yes,
they were suspended. Now, when the coalition was to come to play, INEC advised that the coalition cannot go scale through if we have all these skirmishes playing. And so INEC organized an ADR that brought back all those suspended state chairmen. And we resolved everything. And they were reabsorbed. And we went on. And that was why the NEC that brought in Senator David Mark announced it with a motion, and said that they all maintain their status quo as state chairman. That was done, except Dumebi. His own was not pardoned. That pronouncement was made. Motions were raised. INEC had those motions.
was INEC there in attendance?
INEC was in attendance. I have records of everything. I anchored the program.
Voices, video.
I anchored that program.
Because I'm asking this because of what happened in Ibadan with PDP. Sheima Kinde and his own group, when INEC said they were not there, and up to now, there is
that one, INEC can say that they were not there.
But in your own case,
we had clips, all their videos are there and all that. Everything was programmed. INEC, they can't run away from it.
okay, so what about the court case that is pending, Supreme Court, by next week, or this week rather, should be taking shape or probably?
Of course, we're waiting for whatever the court will say.
Some people are saying if there's a derailment or ADC is scattered.
It's not about ADC scattering.
Okay.
If the court rules against ADC, what happens is that the court has destroyed democracy in Nigeria. That is
So
what
if it
means.
happens, what happens to members like you and Atiku and many others? Peter Obi.
Of course, we'll pick our pieces and we'll move ahead.
Some people are saying you're already thinking of PRP, People's Redemption
I
Party.
have not thought of anywhere to go. I am ADC, and ADC will move ahead because the court will not annihilate ADC. The court will not and cannot annihilate ADC.
Okay, I take your words for that. I take your word as the stand of the party. Now, but let's look at the alignments now. When we're talking about aspirants, let's look at permutations. Okay, we have Atiku Abubakar. Now, people are talking of, look, zone this thing to the south. If Atiku is insisting that he's the most qualified, whether it's El-Rufai, whether it's Rotimi Amechi, or Peter Obi, just name them, Kwankwaso, he's the most qualified. Now, if this thing is zoned to the south, and he insists, you don't foresee a bubble busting the way a PDP did with the same Atiku?
Well, if you ask me, it's quite dicey. But in order to show democracy, when it comes too tight in this manner, consensus does not or may not be the best to choose. But consensus is actually the best form of democratic alliance, or what do I call? Yeah, because when it comes to consensus, certain things are looked into. The first is you have a challenger. You are challenging an incumbent. You look at the candidate that is best fit for that challenge. 2, you look at the area that it is supposed to tilt to enable this challenge. And so, but as the case is today, looking at the tendencies that have come together, Amechi, Atiku, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, you see that there is a fix. But to me, what matters is what Nigerians should look at and say, this person should be able to salvage Nigeria and can combat with the leadership.
No, okay.
What Nigerians should be looking at is a change completely. Vote out nonsense.
So you want to change the change?
Yes, vote out nonsense.
Okay, now in trying to
as a matter of fact,
this, yes,
you know that nobody's name is supposed to be on the ballot. It is the party's name that is always on the ballot.
Okay, now let us look at weaknesses and strengths. You already know Tinubu. You might say 1,001 things about him, good and bad. Now, but let's look at in your own party, let's look at weaknesses and strengths of some of your aspirants. Atiku Abubakar, Aminu Tambuwal, Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi, Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, 5 now or close to 6. In a very brief nutshell, kind of, let us know the strengths, weaknesses of each of these.
All of them have unique strengths and weaknesses. There is none that does not have its own strength and its own weakness. I've not interacted with all of them, but I've interacted with a few, and what they say to me, and their zeal to serve the nation. I will only advocate for them to dig it out on the polls. Let Nigerians decide, and that is what democracy looks like. Let Nigerians decide on who they choose. I know a lot will play. Those who have money to play with will play with. Those who will stand on their integrity. Ordinarily, come to think of it, if we are to place them side by side with other Nigerians, let's say money is not what should play out, because a lot of money intrigues play. But let Nigerians come out and contest this election. We have other young men who are in the country who had what it takes to be the president of Nigeria.
Obi is already saying, look, he will support anybody in as much as money politics is not played.
Myself, sitting down here, am I not good enough to be the president of Nigeria?
Absolutely.
You understand? Come to think of it. Your brother, Yakubu Gowon, how old was he when he led Nigeria through the civil war? Granted, he was a military man.
Around 27 or 20.
Obasanjo, how old was he when he became the head of state in 1976? I think after Murtala. How old was he? Late Buhari came on board. How old was he? These people became heads of state of this country in their 30s, 2030s. In fact, I think the eldest was perhaps Obasanjo, maybe who clocked 30. Others were 24, 27, and all that. And so these are young men. And when you look at the age of the young men of today who are 27 and all that, they are still feeding from their parents. They've not gotten the guts. And who is causing them? These old men who will not allow it to play. If I were to decide for ADC, I would have advised all these men to come together, pick a young man, and front him. And that is what the Baba is afraid of. Look at how they represent us outside the world. Your president is attending an international conference. He is being held. He does not know the road, even where the red carpet is being thrown.
Well,
I feel ashamed when I see those things.
Yes, we'll come to all of that after this very short
And that is how our mentality cannot match up with the Western world or any other world outside there.
Well done.
Whereas we have all it takes.
Okay.
It's annoying.
We'll come to all of that. After all, Donald Trump is also old. So we'll come to all of that. And of course, our guest has been Dr. Peter Daniel Ede of the University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University. My name is Ben Sherman, and the program is Democracy in Action. We are at the Central Business District in Abuja. And we'll come back shortly.
Crime is changing, so is the next generation changing. The next generation brings you real voices and real action and real stories. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay empowered with the next generation. Across our streets and communities, young Nigerians are taking a stand, using innovation, awareness, and unity to build a safer tomorrow. Witness young leaders, innovators, and change makers as they step into the spotlight. From community projects to breakthrough ideas, see the passion, the struggle, and the success. From neighborhood patrol to digital safety, we spotlight the youth shaping a more secure nation. Coming to you soon on TED Eye TV.
Welcome back. And of course, we are still discussing democracy in action in Nigeria. And you've been boiling so much in terms of getting it right. And getting it right The Electoral Act 2026 is saying, yes, aspirants are there, as many as they could be, but when it comes to the choice, one standard bearer, one man to bear the flag as a candidate for any of the parties, two ways of arriving at that. Direct primaries, people who all vote of the party, or you simply have consensus. First of all, how do you see this issue of consensus?
It's beautiful. Very beautiful.
So which one will you prefer, direct primaries or?
Why I say it's beautiful is that when you go to, politics is local, you know. When you go to the rural areas, and when we begin to look at, you know, other offices like State House of Assembly, House of Representatives, Senate, and governors, it is easier using consensus to carry out the selection. For instance, if you come to my locality today,
which is your locality?
I'm from Benue Southern Senatorial District, what we otherwise call Zone C. We have already...
Who is your senator?
Sitting or coming to unseat?
Sitting.
Sitting is Senator Abamoro.
So when you say coming to unseat?
It is Honorable David Olofu. He is coming as an anointed candidate to remove and clean Zone C, Benue South.
Good.
He's a credible candidate.
Okay.
Now,
And
I can tell you the process of getting him there. When you come to using consensus now, when you come to Benue South, the Idoma axis have been enjoying Senate. Senator David Mark was there for many years. Now, Abamoro took over. He is there. When it comes to deputy governorship, it comes from the Idoma axis. The Igede axis had it once. Now, you see, when looking at the sharing formula, the Agatu, when we share things there, we have Old Okpoku, Old Oju, Old Otukpo, and Old Agatu. So you see, in sharing, we maintain that. It is so good for consensus. So this time around, it was clear that all those areas have had senators. Old Okpoku had it how many times? First and Second Republic. People like Senator, the Senate President, Second Republic, can remember, Ash. Amebute is from that axis. You get me?
Yeah.
Good. So, David Mark was from Old Otupo. Senator Abamoro is coming from the Old Okpoku again. You see? Now, Agatu, Apa Agatu is left there, never gotten any. Igede is there, never gotten. So now,
yes,
it is easier by consensus to say, okay, Apa Agatu, it is left for Igede people and Apa Agatu who have not gotten. And this time around, we now say, okay, let it go to Apa Agatu. So that after Apa Agatu, no other person will come. it will come naturally to Igede side.
Okay.
And that
so
is how...
Why has it not come naturally when it comes to gubernatorial that the chief should surrender to either Igede or Idoma?
Yeah,
we're talking about consensus.
They too were looking at the movement of this Senate moving to the Igede axis. But at the same time also, the Benue South have not played the politics in the way they should be. We have 9 local governments. And you know that when these 9 local governments are bonded, you only need to take some more out from Benue Central and more from Benue North, and you'll make it. But we do not have that unity to always hold bound. And then you find out that the populace of Benue North and Center coming together, they take over. They have 14 local governments. They come together, they take it. But if it comes to consensus, and if we will work with consensus, then it has to work. Somehow, in the tradition of the Tiv people, who are the populous unit
populous, okay,
of Benue, they have been taking it from each of their kingdoms. And of course, it has gone around the 5 kingdoms they have. This one that Father Alia is supposed to have come to Benue South. But they became selfish, and when they picked Father Alia, there was, acceptance because he was a priest.
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father. So we all now agreed and fell into the nonsense we are seeing in Benue State.
Well, opposition will always have some adjectives. But even in the camp of David, look at his own family. Isn't his daughter with APC?
His daughter is not with APC because...
And his daughter is with APC.
I think I can say something on that.
And she's also a member of the House of Representatives.
Good. I can say something on that. While he was in PDP, it was difficult for her. She contested under ABGA. And she has her free will to belong to any political party. There is no rule in Nigeria that says if your father is in this political party, you must be in that political party. Instead, it's even counting against you. For instance, when I brought ADC to Benue State in 2016, I looked for who should be the state chairman. It was difficult for me because it was an unknown party. People were like, Peter, what are you coming with and all that? But because I couldn't become because I have something doing, I had to call my younger brother and say, come, there's this new party. Can you? He told me, no, I shouldn't disturb him. And then after, I put his name. I was making a call, calling him. Chief Mosu was listening to me. And he was like, can't you bring, you don't have anybody, can't you bring somebody? Because we're moving people into the party. And I like, okay, my younger brother. And I called him. After he said, no, he's an evangelist, he doesn't want to. Raf told me, say, who is that? I said, it's my younger brother. I said, put his name. I wrote his name. When in 2019, Obasanjo adopted the party and it became obvious, everybody was like, and the people rushed in. By then, The young man,
Obasanjo.
yes, adopted the party in 2019. 2018, 2019. We had our national convention.
No, let me get it right. Obasanjo adopted it.
Yes, as
Eddie.
ADC, as the CNN movement, you know, and that was the first time ADC came to limelight. Now, many people moved into the
Do
party.
you actually mean Obasanjo or Tinubu?
I mean, His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, read my lips. He's the father of ADC. And people came in. When people came in and started, the party was gaining grounds in Benue and all that. You know what happened? They started writing petitions that I brought a party and made my younger brother the state chairman.
So where is he today, your younger brother?
He's just there. Even while
As an evangelist, or he just
he's there
put his feet down and retreated?
Of course. A lot went wrong.
Okay, now let's look at almost concluding.
Yeah,
this issue of
I'm coming to that.
Consensus.
I'm coming to that. I brought this story to show you that there is no place in the Constitution that says that you cannot be two brothers in the same party, or you cannot be father and son in the same party. Neither is there any place in the Constitution that states that if you are in this party, all your children or your siblings must be in that same party. We are in a free world. In fact, Nigeria is the freest nation in the world. And they have their freedom of choice. Contesting election is like playing a football game or any game. It is where you position yourself so that they pass the football to you, that you will be there. If you go and position yourself behind your opponent, who will give you ball? Nobody will give you ball.
Maybe there's could be the
opponent
can miss the
pick
ball.
it up. He may not miss it. You understand? It will take some intrigues for the opponent to miss it, for you to pick it.
Yeah.
So
No.
if she went to ABGA, she contested under ABGA and won. It was while she was there, perhaps the politicking there also made her move into APC with Alia and all that. So you can see there are intrigues.
So yes, let's discuss this consensus. Very vital.
Yeah.
You have praised it so much that you've forgotten and in fact refused the blacklisted direct primaries. Now, this consensus, if you check what is happening in Nasarawa State, where Governor A.A. Abdullahi has said that the choice, the popular choice, is Senator Aliu Wadada.
Yeah.
It's also alleged that he has already presented him to Mr. President. Now, you can see Tanko Al-Makura, he said, no, it's a joke taken too far. Another aspirant, former Inspector General of Police, Adamu Abdullahi, he said he's taken aback. He has an interest on this. There was no formal meeting, yet we are seeing this. Now, is consensus, if you are looking at this?
That is not what is regarded as consensus.
What is it?
For consensus to take place for a state governorship candidate, all parties must come together within the same party. There we look at the modalities that will be put on the table for consensus to come on board. And you will look at if there are 4, 3, or 5 people who are contesting from Nasarawa State, they will come together. There is what we call the state leadership. And this state leadership has to do with who is who in the state structure. Former governors, former this, former senators, former generals, former directors, they will be in such a meeting. If they belong to a particular party, they will sit and then they will look at one, who will win, who can drive this boat? Those are basic questions. 2, who has the funds? 3, where does it favor? 5, where should it go without? So this, they must come to accept this. And when you place that in place, no matter how rich a man is, when those realities are put before them during consensus, he just have to. Those who will not be satisfied with it, after it plays out, they fizzle out or they find their way to another place. But now, this man must have played smart by taking someone to present. But then, look at, is getting back ripples. ADC has just done their convention for state congresses. It went so smoothly, except with maybe 1 or 2 states.
Yes. To still conclude, because we're actually running a short of time. If you look at the case with Adamawa State, where Senator Aisha Dahiru Binani is appeared to have been skimmed out, even though she does not. Look, she does not like what has happened. Now she's now, aligning with Senator Siriake Dixon. You know, he also has this new party, Nigerian Democratic Party. And so that party is also coming up so hot. Some people are saying, look, this party is likely to be one kind dark horse. When you have ADC having convention and people are disenchanted, they go there. You have APC, PDP having convention, they are disenchanted, they go there. Are we not saying that this consensus can be injurious to democracy?
It's not injurious to democracy. The fact here remains, we have many political parties. If I were to be INEC chairman today, all I needed to do is to restructure our political parties. First of all, we will have national parties. And those national parties will not be more than 2. You either belong to one or the other.
That should be an act of the National Assembly.
2, we now have other state parties, such that it's not a must that you are in this party, in this state, you have a colleague from the other state. That will enable stability. You understand? And when we are talking about national party, then you look at the 2 or 3 offices that are at the national level. That it takes care of that content. You have parties that, even if it's at the local government level, you have the capacity to, that will enable state governors have their money, local government have control of the resources that come to them, and development will be at local level.
Yes,
and you decongest. Yes. Look at what Abuja looks like.
We just have to end it here. But I need a yes or no answer. Make a choice. Which one do you prefer?
Of the 2?
With a consensus or direct primaries? This is an objective question.
It has to be
analytical.
Yes, in the sense that the process of being a consensus is not mathematical. So there are probabilities. And because there are probabilities, where consensus fail, then we should take direct where people cast their votes. It's just that it has to do with a lot of funding.
Okay. And it is here that we have to end this program, Democracy in Action, and it came to you via Third Eye Africa TV. And our guest has been, of course, lecturers, and a politician, all combined. Universities give combined honors. I see that in you. I'm talking of Dr. Peter Daniel Ede, University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University. We want to thank you for coming to Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
And my name is Bernard Amshamang. As we usually say, proudly Nigeria. Thank you for coming.
We have to add patriotic. We need patriotism. So patriotic Nigeria. Maybe,
and you carry your green passport.
Maybe next time we need to talk patriotism. That is the problem of this country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Bless you.